Hey, it's Clay Trading. This will be a video chart on ticker symbol URRE. We will take a look at the 30-minute time frame. Real quick, what do I mean by 30-minute in case maybe you're new to charts? Instead of each one of these candlesticks representing 1 day's worth of price action, which is what you would normally see, each one represents 30 minutes. So while this may look like several days worth of time right here, it's actually just today's price action broken down into 30-minute time slices. I like to this time frame. I think it does a good job of telling the quote-unquote story of the price, and then makes mapping out where levels of support and resistance a bit easier to see. If you were to say, hey Clay, what does a gap and trap look like? I've heard of this term gap and trap. What does that look like? Well, here is Exhibit A. This is basically exactly what a gap and trap is. So the price gapped up here. It actually ran. Some poor souls bought right there. And then from there, down it went. So believe it or not, the bulls do still have some hope, but there is a lot of perspective that goes into that. What do I mean by perspective? Well, if you are a day trader and you bought right there and you wanted to sell within 10 minutes, then of course that doesn't apply to you. You could care less about any of that. The chart is not looking good for you at all. But if you care about the big picture, the overall perspective, I'm trying to emphasize those words, then there is still a chance for the bulls to build a higher base and therefore build a higher uptrend. And that's where this level here comes into play. Again, I want to emphasize, because I realize it could be it sounds totally crazy to say that the bulls do still have a chance after this big old gap and trap, but $1.45 is very important, because when you stop and think about it, well, the price could come down here, bounce around, and then head back up. And what would happen from the overall perspective, from the big picture? Well, you'd have this set of lows right here. You'd have this previous set down there. If you picture these as stair steps, well, hey, you got stair steps going in the upwards direction. And that's the name of the game from the big picture of things. So I don't mean to beat that dead horse, but I want to just re-emphasize here that I'm talking about things from the overall analysis. Now, if the price closes below $1.46, or starts to separate to the downside, at that point in time, this is essentially a pump and dump, because the price is right back to where it all started, and that's what pump and dump price actions do, right? Prices make big old moves, which check, that one's clearly made a big move, and then within a short amount of time, the price is right back to where it started, or sometimes less. So, but right now, I'm not going to call it a pump and dump, because technically speaking, like we've gone over, the bulls do still have a chance to build a higher base and then start to build an overall uptrend. And when I say pump and up, I'm not talking about the company itself, so I'm not saying like this company's run out of somebody's garage. I'm just talking about strictly the price action alone. Now, what about areas of resistance? We've established $1.45, definitely a key level of support, but if the price does bounce, where's some of these hurdles at? The first key hurdle on any sort of bounce, I'm going to call right there at, okay, that makes sense, right there at $1.65. That's actually right where the price bounced off of that final 30 minutes, and you can see it had some price history over there. So $1.65 initial area of resistance, and then the next hurdle the bulls would have to clear up there at that point, and that sits at $1.73. So, but really right now, breaking levels of resistance is really far down on the priority list. Top priority right now is just stabilizing. So at this point in time, sideways action is just as good as upwards price action. So crazy day today. We'll have to see what happens with it the next 2 days. One of the most common questions I get is, hey Clay, how do you find the stocks that you trade? So what I've done is put together this free resource guide where I talk about the tools that I use to locate stocks that I find interesting and think may have potential. So if that sounds like something that could add value to you as a trader, then by all means, click right here to get access to the guide. The guide itself is very short and to the point, and like I say, it is free. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.